All right, so the first thing we had to tackle was answering which of these points are which. So I've got my inputs, and I've got my outputs that go with them. The second thing to tackle is to draw the graph of it. So really, I've got three different graphs up here I'm going to be drawing. I've got -2, x plus 1, and +5. So let's sketch those graphs. What does the graph of -2 look like? If it's just y equals -2, what am I drawing? Straight line through -2, or a horizontal line through -2. So 1, 2. So here's my horizontal line. Through -2. There it is. Thank you. What about x plus 1?
X plus 1, are you going to put a 1 on the x?
Y-axis. Because that's my intercept, is at +1. And my slope is, what's my slope if there's no number? 1, yeah. There's an understood 1 there. So I go up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. Up 1, over 1. So that would be that line. That's y equals x plus 1. What about y equals 5? What's that look like? Horizontal or vertical line? Horizontal, and it cuts through +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I draw my graph, I'm looking at one of those three lines at any given point. The last thing I'm going to mark are my borders. 0 is a border. And 4 is a border. If I'm talking less than 0, so before this first border, which of the three functions do I use? X plus 1, 5, or -2? Let's see. If x is less than 0, what rule am I using? -2. So that means as long as I'm to the left of that, I'm using the first line. Does that include 0? All right, make an open circle there. Okay. Sure. Start at, as long as I'm dealing with all the numbers before 0. So here's my x's. So if the numbers are before 0, that's this range, I'm following the rule of -2. So -1, -2, -3, all those numbers are less than 0. So my output is going to be along that line. That's the line I use for that range. When I get to 0, what is that still on the first rule, or do I go to the second rule now? Second rule, because it's 0 less than equal to x. So I pick up here at 0, and I continue until I get to 4, which is my next border. Is 4 included?
No. Oh, yeah.
It's got a line under it, so you're included. Remember we did the inequalities? We talked about the idea that you could say, if there's a line under, that's extra stuff to fill the hole in with. So since it's under there, it's equal to. Now my last rule says if its number is bigger than 4, so that's bigger than 4, I'm going to use 5 as my rule. And there's my graph. I follow the first graph for the first range, which is x is less than 0. In the second range, which is 0 less than equal to x less than equal to 4, I follow that line. And for all the numbers greater than 4, I follow that line. So really what we're asking you to do with these problems is make 3 graphs and then pick out the pieces that you need for each spot. That's why we call it piecewise. What can I say about that one? Go ahead.
The 0 and x and 4, why does it start at 1 and not at 0? The first one.
The first one. This one?
Oh.
Or that one?
Yeah.
This one?
No.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually x equals 0 right here.
Okay.
So it starts at 0, and it goes through 4, and it's got solid dots on either end of it because it includes those border points. This third rule, where it's 5, this rule right here, it's got an open dot to start it off because it's open. So it's kind of like doing inequalities again, remember? What else can I say about this? Should we go back to tables of values?
No.
Okay.